Well, greetings, viewers, voyeurs, gothatfunk here. This is a video response to my friend Laura Lila and her video, Friends. And I suppose it could also be a response to the Rogue Moon and his video, Friends, or Online Friends, which he posted a couple of hours ago. Laura Lila's video was yesterday, and I'll probably attach this to hers as a video response, because that was what I was going to do originally, and then Don made his video. Now, I'm going to use Don as an example of someone who I do consider a good friend of mine here on YouTube. Me and Don have had our disagreements, but we have never lost any respect for each other. We get along great. He understands my sense of humor pretty well. And, Don's the kind of guy that I like to have in my life because, he's going to call me on my shit sometimes. I really have a lot of respect for people who will respectfully disagree, even if they do it with a little bit of abrasiveness sometimes. At the end of the day, if you're adults and you have some level of respect for each other, you don't necessarily have to play nice all the time. I feel the same way about other friends of mine on YouTube. Some people I've never met in video, but are just commenters on my videos. Like Bill Kiernan is a good example of someone who I really, really like. But, when he thinks I'm full of it, he'll tell me, and I think that's awesome. Who else would fit into that category? Well, probably a lot of you, to be honest. D. Landon Cole is a good guy. I've met him in person, and both in person and online, he seems like a really friendly, easy to get along with man. So there are plenty of people that I would consider friends, but the word friends is kind of an overall umbrella term, which can cover lots of different types of friendly relationships. When I do video responses to people, if I refer to them at the beginning, I say, this is a video response to my friend Laura Lila. Laura Lila and I are just getting to know each other, so you might think that I'm jumping the gun a bit by referring to her as my friend. But she is a very, very interesting woman, and she has never given me any reason not to like her. And I'm the type of person who will give everyone I meet a certain basic level of respect and trust until and unless that person gives me some reason to withhold it. Absent a reason to withhold it, I give it. I'm not the kind of guy who thinks that you have to earn my trust and you have to earn my respect and you have to earn my friendship. There's nothing particularly special about me. Quite the opposite. I am every bit as fucked up and flawed as anybody else that I can think of. And therefore, I don't expect anybody else to be perfect or live up to some sort of ideal about what a friend should be. I have made a lot of friendships here on YouTube of various different degrees. Last spring, Skid Row Radio came to visit me in my home, and I consider that guy a proper friend. We had a great time together. We get each other's sense of humor. I think Ben's head and heart are in exactly the right place. And, he's a classic example of someone who rubs a lot of people up the wrong way. But he doesn't rub me up the wrong way. I have lots of friends like that on YouTube. A lot of my friends don't like Sardonic Skeptic. I think he's fucking awesome. A lot of, I could go on and on. I could do a great big long list of people that most people don't like, but I love, And I think that's because, like I say, if you extend that bit of respect and a bit of trust until someone gives you a reason to withhold it, they're going to give you the same back. It tends to be reciprocal. Of course, there are deeper friendships, people that you open up to and tell things about your personal life to that you would not otherwise tell other people. My friend Boy the Lizards 42 is a good example of someone I would put in that category, as is Jack Luck 4, the Rogue Moon again, someone who knows, more about me than most of you out there. And anybody here on YouTube who is also a friend of mine on Facebook gets a little peek inside my head. I don't normally accept Facebook friend requests from people that watch me on YouTube. So if I have accepted you, that's because, yeah, I think you're cool enough to where I don't mind you realizing that sometimes I'm a sad, lonely, pathetic git, who sits around moaning about the fact that he's single or whatever. Anyway, but generally speaking, I don't like to show that side of myself on YouTube. So that's what Facebook is for, that's something else. But yeah, online friends, Dawn was saying that you have to be careful who your friends are, who you pick as friends. Yeah, Dawn, I suppose I know what you mean, and you're not necessarily wrong. But I find that, the more welcoming and open you are, the more people don't want to lose that, and you can, generally speaking, meet an awful lot of interesting, diverse people that way. And, like last night, or was it the night before, I did a blog TV, and I had a fantastic time that night. And all the people who came into my room, almost without exception, made me feel extraordinarily welcome. And that just made me feel like $1,000,000. So it's really nice to know there are people out there who you can just hang out with and be yourself without having to be too much on your guard. And my friend Chaos Egg once told me in Blog TV that I seem completely different on Blog TV to how I put myself across on YouTube, which I find interesting because I don't think of it that way. But he wouldn't have said that for nothing. So it sort of gave me cause to pause and examine my behavior on YouTube, and maybe I do try to put myself across a little bit more together or whatever on YouTube than I am in real life. Que sera, sera, so I say. Anyway, right. So Laura Lila, I found your video very interesting, and I think it is true that when it comes to online friendships, it's not exactly the same as in real life. And Don, I do agree with you in one sense that, anybody, if you fall out with them, could stab you in the back and say things about you to other people that you perhaps wouldn't want them to say. But the same is true with your real life friends. I mean, in my life, believe me, mate, I have had people screw me over. My best friends have screwed me over sometimes. In very major ways, enough said. So yeah, I don't necessarily expect people to be perfect or to live up to some kind of standard to suit me. Because I don't want people to expect me to live up to some sort of great standard of moral rectitude. I am by no means a paragon of virtue. Having said that, if you ask me if you want to tell me something and I say you can rely on my discretion, you can take that to the bank. You can rely on my discretion. And I am making more friends all the time here on the tubes, and I think that's great. Example, John Paul Dorn and myself, becoming more close friends with every passing week. And a lot of people would say, don't trust that guy, Paul. I see no reason not to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. He seems really cool to me. And I think we're developing sort of a mutual respect for each other. And that's awesome. And that's something I value. So because I value it and act like I value it, I'm pretty sure John values it as well. And I think it's a quid pro quo sort of thing. It mutually reinforces itself. But, Don, ultimately you're right. You do have to be a bit careful. You can't just tell everyone everything about yourself and expect everyone to keep stum about it. Anyway, so that's my contribution to the conversation. Thanks for watching this one, guys. And until next time, may all your ups and downs be ups.